everyone, my name is Ashley Beeson and welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about fashion icons. Now for this particular topic, I thought it would be fun to do a tier ranking video, but also make it a part 1, part 2, and do one video, which is today's video, as the icons of now, and then the part 2 next week would be the icons of then, to kind of get the full spectrum of what fashion has been and what it is now. So I'm very excited to do this. It could be controversial if you do not have the same opinions, but that is what this topic is all about. So let's just get right into it. So before we actually go through my list that I have created together, I just want to run through my tier system. So this is my tier system. The first one is going to be my The Icons tier. So they are the top tier, and it's pretty self-explanatory. They are like the ones that are indisputably fashion icons. It's kind of hard to argue that they are anything but. So simply being put, they are the best of now. And then tier 2 is what I would kind of consider the next in line. They are risk takers, they're very fashion, they have many iconic things, they definitely push things, but they just aren't there yet. And they may be at some point, they may never be, or I just may never consider them to be the best of the best, but they are basically just right under. They're the people that you would still be looking for in terms of what they're wearing, what they're doing with fashion. And then tier 3 is something that I took from Violet Chachki, which is called the Turns Looks Instant Pretty. And I kind of just consider this category to be those that are very much fashion that I may or may not love, but they are the ones that always have had iconic moments, and they consistently have good fashion, whether it be their streetwear or their red carpet, whatever it may be. They're consistent with having good looks. I just don't think they're a tier 1 or a tier 2. So they're kind of like that good mid-range of they're very much fashion, they've had their moments, and they're big enough to where they can be considered a 3 in my opinion. And then tier 4 is what I call it's fashion, and to me they're kind of like tier 3. They just don't have as many moments. They're the type of people, to me at least, that know fashion, embrace fashion, and they give moments, but it's not as many as the others, and they're not as big, and they're maybe not as dramatic. Like, I kind of just consider this category a really good hardcore, just like they're a fashion girly or a fashion guy, and that's where I would assume, like, to me that's where most people kind of sit, is kind of in this area 4. And my last tier 5, is what I call I will acknowledge. They're the people that I acknowledge all of the fashion moments, and I might even love the fashion moments, but there's something stopping them from being greater in fashion, or maybe not as relevant in fashion to current fashion, because these are obviously fashion icons of now, so there needs to be something happening currently for this particular list to be effective in how I'm listing everything. And there are some people that should be acknowledged, but it might be for a different reason, but we'll get into that. So these are my tiers, and let's just run into my first icon. But before we move on, I just want to disclaimer that these are my opinions. I am not trying to
like attack anyone or anything. Like, these are just my opinions, and if yours are different, that's totally great and totally fine. This is just what I think, and these are what I consider fashion icons of now. So if yours is different, that's okay. But I'm not here to hurt anyone's feelings. First, we have someone that is fashion, and if you disagree with this one, it'd be hard to disagree. But we have Rihanna as the first person on my list. And she is, it's hard to not see her as a fashion icon with what she has given us over the years. You could just talk about her Met Gala looks and you would be able to understand. But she has over the years been someone that's kind of cherished the idea of fashion and is totally willing to wear something out of the box or put her own spin on something. And she very much embraces the idea of fashion and putting together your own style. And that goes from her red carpet stuff to her streetwear stuff, regardless of when it was, even when she was pregnant, both times. Like, her fashion has always been very, very forward and very innovative, and she's someone that people always look to see what she's wearing, and we're always excited to see what she's wearing. So it's kind of hard to dispute her being a fashion icon. So for me, I'm gonna put her in tier 1 because there aren't many people doing it better than her. And I think she's kind of been there for a while and she's gonna stay there. So she is a tier 1 kind of gal, and I don't foresee that ever changing. Next is someone that I feel like everyone loves and looks forward to seeing on carpets is Zendaya. And she, even from the beginning when she was part of Disney, to me she seemed like she was always looking to be fashion, even if the outfits like weren't great at the beginning. There was intent there, and once she started working with La Roche, it was just like, oh my god, she is fantastic with the pieces that she picks for any event. The access to the archives that she has is absolutely amazing. Her Met Gala looks are always fantastic. Her red carpet looks are always good. Even her streetwear stuff, basic stuff, is good. She is like the epitome of dressing to theme, which is pretty challenging depending on what it is. But even just like the last year or so has kind of been a star for her with the Dune premieres and everything she wore for that. And then most recently the Challenger stuff with all the tennis gear, absolutely amazing. To me, even like the Spider-Man stuff for the last movie was fantastic. Zendaya is a fashion icon because she is willing to wear everything, and she always delivers. And even if she doesn't, there is still so much thought behind what she's wearing that it's like we almost kind of give her a pass, but it doesn't happen very often. She doesn't miss very often. So for me, obviously, I'm gonna put her into tier 1, the icons, because that is where she should be, that is where she currently lives, and that is where she's going to stay. Next is one of my personal favorites, Blake Lively, and she is currently doing press and stuff for her new movie that came out, and that's been fantastic. I think Blake is a very key person with fashion, and what I love about her is that she doesn't have a stylist. She's claimed that she does not need one, and most of the time I agree. Sometimes some of the looks are a little wonky, but that's okay. It shows risk. Blake has kind of become somewhat of, I don't think she's kind of always been a fashion girl. Like earlier, she has Gossip Girl, but that's different. But like herself, her style has become something that people look for,
and she's willing to pull out wild prints and different sort of cuts. She's willing to go into the archives. I mean, she just wore the Versace dress that Britney Spears wore in like 2002 or something, and it looked fantastic on her, and it was completely unexpected because that dress is iconic by someone else. And she is one of those girls, just like Zendaya. She does theming. I don't think she does it as good as Zendaya does, but she still does a good job with it and better than what I've seen with some other people. So I give her the props to that because it is rather difficult. But she has always been one of my favorites, whether it be Met Gala, red carpet, doesn't matter. I've always loved seeing what she's wearing, and I also just love her anyways. So for me, I absolutely love her, but I don't think she's at a tier 1 level, but she is, to me, a tier 2. I do think that she's like, if she maybe gave a little bit more, maybe took a little bit more risk, she could jump right into like the full fashion tier for me and be a true fashion icon. But I think like right now in the state that she is a next in line tier. So that's where I'm going to put her. She's still an icon. Obviously everyone on my list to some degree is a fashion icon, because if they weren't, they wouldn't be on this list. And I just think that she could maybe do a little bit more to get to tier 1 for me, but she is still a tier 2 because I absolutely love her and I love her fashion most of the time. But I just couldn't put her in tier 1, so she is a tier 2. Next, I wasn't expecting to have this person on my list, but kind of going through her fashion a little bit more, I do. Obviously there's a reason why I put her here, but Cardi B is someone that I think has risen to being a fashion and style icon. I don't think earlier on she was, but it was also a different time, I guess. But she has grown into being a risk taker and willing to wear crazy avant-garde, well, adjacent avant-garde, like vintage and archival stuff. She's had great moments during couture weeks. She's had great Met Gala looks. She actually follows the theme, which I appreciate. She's had really good red carpet looks. I'm not too much into her music, so I don't know that much of her side of fashion, but from everything that I've seen, she is ready to wear lots of different stuff. And I've also noticed that she likes to mess with things other than fabric, and using different types of materials and take a little bit more risk with that stuff, and I appreciate that as like a fashion person. I appreciate that, and I think she's definitely kind of created her path to being one to watch on the red carpet. And so I kind of see her as a tier 2 next in line, and that's where I'm gonna put her, because she does more than a lot of other people, but she isn't at the top, but she's right there. She's definitely put herself in a good position to be right there with the now fashion icons, and I think she deserves it with a lot of the stuff that she's done. So that's why I put her there. So she is a tier 2. Next is Victoria Beckham, and she is someone that when I was a little younger, I didn't particularly love her style because I thought it was kind of boring. She was always wearing the same types of silhouettes, and I didn't get it. As I've gotten older, I have come to very much appreciate her style, and I very much like her style now, and I have come to really love the direction of how she has decided to take fashion, with her, obviously going from the Spice Girls and being a very particular type of image to creating her own brand, and becoming, within the last I would say maybe 2 years, become a staple name that people are really starting to look to and appreciate. I've loved seeing her thought process behind what she does for her runway shows, and I've loved a lot of the looks that she's created. I think that she is someone that people are appreciating, and I think she's always been an icon. I mean, she's Posh Spice, but for me, I think she is truly kind of formed into a fashion girly, and that's why I believe her to be, for me, in a tier 4. It's fashion, and that's where I'm gonna put her, because she herself and her style doesn't really warrant it a ton of risk and a ton of crazy moments, but to me, she is just a different part of fashion, but she's a part of a very important section, and I think that's what makes her a fashion icon for right now, because obviously she's huge now for her fashion, and I have more appreciation for it. So I do think she's like that straightforward, like knows fashion, appreciates fashion, creates fashion, and lives for fashion, and I love it. Now, this entire list is obviously my own personal opinion, but I couldn't make a fashion icon list for now without including Miss Naomi Campbell. I just couldn't do it, and this might be something that people don't agree with, but I straightforward am putting her in tier 1 as one of the icons, because she is one of the icons. Now, she herself, her fashion is very clean. It's very, I do love what she wears. She's very elegant in the way that she is with the type of fashion that she wears. But for me, and why I put her in this list, I didn't put her in there for what she wears, like for carpets and what her style is. I put her on this list because she is the supermodel, and some of the greatest moments in fashion runway history have come from this woman. And she is kind of like the pillar of all of these girls now, and where they want to be, how they want to walk, how they want to be on the runway. She is highly important to the fashion industry of now, and she is still, you know, she obviously, her prime was the 90s, but she is still kicking everyone's butts on the runway when she's doing it. She is still her. She is still the best. She is still the biggest, in my opinion, and I just couldn't have a list that didn't have her on it, because she is one of my favorites, and there's a reason she is a supermodel, and some of these other girls might think they're supermodels, but they're not. So I had to put her here just because it would hurt my soul if I didn't. Next could be controversial, as I believe that Britney Spears she's an icon regardless. It doesn't really matter what you're looking at her for. She is an icon, and I will forever acknowledge that. But in terms of fashion, she is a fashion icon, hence the list. But she is a fashion icon of an era, essentially. She hasn't really been doing anything as of lately, and we haven't really seen much in the way of fashion for her. And even if we do, it's nothing crazy. To me, I think everyone depicts Britney Spears as her prime, which was the 2000s, where we were actually getting super iconic looks for performances and music videos and red carpet stuff. I mean, there are very key things that she has done during her career that is what makes her iconic, and in the fashion world, what makes her a fashion icon, including the dress that Blake Lively just wore, that she originally wore in the 2000s. It's an important moment in fashion history for right now and for us, but she just isn't the same now, because we think of her as past. And so she had to be on this list because she is so important, but she isn't a like current to today, like this year. She isn't a fashion icon of now, but she is a fashion icon of now, just not directly like now, currently, 2024. She is someone that has to be on this list because she is who she is. But it's kind of hard to think of her as anything other than her 2000s. So I will acknowledge tier 5 is where I'm going to put her because I will 100% acknowledge her, but there are people better because they're doing it currently and she did it then, but she is still an icon of now for us. People may not like that, but that is my opinion. She's still fantastic and she's still a diva, a pop diva, and she will forever live on as that too. Next we have the queen bee herself, Miss Cowboy Carter, Beyonce, and plain and simple, I couldn't put her anywhere else than tier 1, so that's where I'm gonna put her because she is one of the icons. And people may or may not disagree with that. I know a lot of people like to say that she's overrated. I'm not one of those people. But to me, Beyonce has always been a fashion person, whether it be with her Destiny's Child stuff or when she went solo and started doing her own music and projects, and especially as of lately, I would say like from Lemonade particularly to now, she has really pushed her own fashion and given us tons of moments. You can look at the entire Renaissance era, whether it be the visuals that she did, the concert. I mean, she wore like 150 looks for her entire tour, every single concert. It didn't matter. Like, she has proven to be a fashion person and to be a fashion icon, and because she's already so iconic, because she's Beyonce, her fashion is going to be right there with her. And I obviously don't know if you can tell, but I absolutely love Beyonce and I love her fashion. I love seeing what she's wearing, and I love when she gives a look and she moves away from her sort of natural silhouettes that she does. But she's Beyonce. She's an icon. So she's tier 1 because where else would you put her? Nowhere, because she's either there or she's not on your list. So, you know, for me, it's pretty self-explanatory. She's gonna be a tier 1 because I absolutely love her. Out of all of the current models, I don't love many, but I do tend to gravitate towards Bella Hadid specifically, whether it be runway or just her fashion in general. She is one of my favorites when it comes to what she wears on carpets and just her natural style that she has. She's very broad in what she wears. She will wear a lot of different things. Like one day she'll wear this and then the next day she'll wear this, and it'll be completely different styles. And I really do like that about her. She is someone that I think is important for fashion currently. And because I love her style, I knew that she was going to be on this list, and I know that she is, for the current fashion model, she is very iconic. She's had iconic moments on the runway, and she does have a good walk. She's improved. She's definitely improved. I didn't think she had a good walk to begin with, but it's definitely better. But I think she is one of those girls that, again, she's someone that we look for to see what she's wearing. She has given us so many good looks for film festivals. She's always ready and prepared for France, like the Cannes Film Festival. I never say it right. In France is something that she always delivers on, and I think because she is 100% willing. That's what gives her her edge. But she's not icon, and she's not almost there. So for me, it makes sense to put her into tier 3 because she does exactly that. She turns looks and she stunts pretty. She's a fashion model, so that's part of the job, even just baseline. But she is a top model for a reason, and she herself has a good style, and she is one of my favorites. I do like her style. There are people better on the runway, but but she's deserving of being on this list because I do like her enough and I do look for what she wears. So it would be cruel for me to not put her on this list because I do pay attention to what she wears. Next we have Timothée Chalamet, and I think straight out of the gate he's one of the best in terms of the men's fashion that we get. Men's fashion is kind of hard because I feel like there's a notion that you can really only dress a certain way, and it's kind of boring because all of the men, they kind of look the same when they're on carpets and stuff like that. But Timothée is a good example of not being the same. Or if he's gonna wear something simple, there's gonna be something a part of it to make it edgier and make it a little bit more fashion. And Timothée is one of those that is willing to wear, leathered pastels or little frilly backless numbers or sparkles. He's one of those guys that has an understanding of fashion and is fully prepared to wear something unique and take a bit of a chance on something. From my understanding and kind of just seeing, he looks like he also enjoys fashion and to a degree understands it. So for me, I think that I would put him in tier 4 and it's fashion, because it's not he's not iconic, so sorry, he's not. He's great and he's a good actor and all that stuff, but he's not a fashion icon. But he is someone that I can see the fashion appreciation, and because he is willing to be different than all of the rest of the men, and because I like seeing what he's wearing, or it's interesting to see what he's wearing, he has to be on this list. So he's a fashion icon for now in terms of just being fashion. We'll see. I guess we'll see if he rises on my list at all. It becomes greater. But where he is where he should be, because he's doing more and better than most of the men out there that I can see. So he's already doing something right with pushing fashion for the guys, and I hope more follow in kind of his direction, kind of tweak things and make things a little bit more interesting. Next we have, probably again just like Rihanna, a completely undisputable person going in tier 1, Lady Gaga. I'm putting her in tier 1 because when are we not talking about what she has worn or what she wears? She kind of came into the world ready to wear the craziest stuff, and people either loved it or they hated it. And the polarization of what she has done throughout her career is what makes her iconic, other than her being a fantastic singer and being a good actor and all that stuff. But in the fashion world, she is huge, and she is so important to the fashion progression and being able to be more avant-garde and being able to wear looks that people would turn their nose to. And she wore a meat dress. People don't do that. They might now, but then people don't do that. And even her normal, quote unquote normal fashion, the stuff that she wears for movie premieres, and her normal pretty fashion is also really, really good. And I think because she was ready to wear whatever, she has a very good sense of style and fashion, and she also, you can tell, she also has a huge appreciation for fashion and the creation of it, and that shows in how she talks about it and what she wears and how she comes up with these concepts for all of these bizarre looks for her music and just her direction, because she's Lady Gaga. We know her as the wild fashion woman, and that's what makes her an icon. So she's going in tier 1. I don't think anyone would fight that. It's okay if you would, but she's going in tier 1. Next on this list is another icon, the great Celine Dion. And I'm putting her in tier 1 because she deserves to be there. But she is also someone that fully embraces wearing fashion moments. I mean, everyone knows the backwards tuxedo suit thing with the white outfit where she wore it backwards and had the hat and the sunglasses. Everyone remembers that, and like from that point on, everything that she's done, even if it was simple, was really good. And plus, I mean, who doesn't love Celine Dion? She's got like one of the best personalities ever. She's a fantastic singer. She is the moment, and she really is the moment with the Olympics and her performance and what she wore there. I did a video on the celebrity fashion of the Olympics, and I will put it right here if you want to go and check that out. But she is definitely one of those fashion people, and she has a really good kind of like off-duty street style fashion, because a lot of the stuff that I've seen, she could be going to the grocery store and she's gonna dress for like the biggest event on the planet, and I love that about her. And because she is Celine Dion, and because she has always given moments, she has to be on this list. Even if we haven't seen her for a few years because she's going through her stuff, she just came back and squashed everyone at the Olympics. So this was a very simple thing, a very easy thing, but Celine Dion was gonna be tier 1 because she is an icon. And lastly on my list, we have the other Hadid sister, Gigi. She's in the same kind of spectrum as her sister, almost exactly, where I love her fashion and I look to see what her fashion is, and she gives good things on the carpet, and she's had good fashion moments, and she's willing to wear different types of things. She has a little bit more structure with her style, unlike her sister, so there's a little bit more, we can kind of track what she wears a little bit more than Bella. I do very much enjoy her fashion, and is again someone that I look towards. She's fine on the runway. She's had some good moments, just like her sister has, but there are definitely better moments. I think she has an okay walk, kind of, but she's fine. She is one of the biggest models right now, just like her sister. And so I knew I was gonna put her on this list because I do like her fashion, but I'm putting her on there for the overarching stuff of fashion for her, not necessarily the moments that she's had. But I'm gonna put her in tier 3, turns looks and stunts pretty, because that is what she does, and I think that that's kind of like right where she should be, and I don't ever foresee her pivoting anywhere else, because she does have a really good solid foundation of fashion, and she knows more about it too, which I appreciate. But she's definitely not a tier 2 and not a tier 1, and she never will be, in my humble opinion. And so this is my tiered ranking for the fashion icons of now. I obviously know that I probably didn't have more people. There are people that I could think of that could be on this list. I just didn't add them. And I'm sure there's people that you guys would think is an icon of now that I don't. So to have a conversation, I would love to know what you guys thought about my list, if you disagreed, if you agreed, or like who you thought should have been on the list, who you thought shouldn't have been on the list. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. And like I said earlier, this is the part 1 of 2. So next week we will do the tiered rankings for fashion icons of then, which will 100% include them. And I'm excited for that list, but until then, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!